Hello, this is Erin with the Joy in Pens and Paper, and it is another 3 Inks Thursday. And so this is number 41. Got to write that ahead of time. So with a 3 Inks Thursday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 inks, swatch it on 3 different papers, and then use 3 different size nibs to write with it and compare. The 3 papers that I will be using today are Life Bank paper, Clairefontaine Rhodia paper, and Tomoe River paper within the Galen Leather Co. Everyday Notebook. I have been using Cosmo Air Light for quite some time. However, I didn't take the time today. I had the time. I didn't take the time to cut a page out of the Everyday Notebook from Galen Leather Co. with Cosmo Air Light paper. It was easier for me to tear off a page on the pad of Clairefontaine Rhodia paper, and so that's what I did. And I cut up quite a few, so that will be the paper in the rotation for a bit, is what it is. So the ink that I chose as my base for comparison is Diamine Inkvent Marley. This was the ink name that was the precipice for me budgeting for and then purchasing the Diamine Inkvent calendar for 2024. And I do really love it. So I chose 2 inks from my collection to compare it to. The first of the 2 inks is Sailor 50 States, New Hampshire. It is a grayish purple. Marley is a grayish purple, but Marley has some pink to it. And the other one is Colorverse Iris Nebula. And this is also a grayish purple ink, and this one has a shimmer. So I'm just going to do a little agitation now just to shorten it later. I'll be using a Kakimori Brass Nib dip pen to do my swatches, and then I have 3 TWSBI Goes in fine, medium, and stub that I will do writing samples for. I'll put Marley in the middle, so we'll start with Sailor 50 States, New Hampshire. I think this bottle, and perhaps I'm very wrong, is evaporating because the ink is down almost by 1/3 of the bottle, and I don't think I've used it enough to say I've used 1/3. But that's okay. I mean, it's not okay. I'm kind of mad about it, but it is what it is, I guess is what I should say. All right, so using the TWSBI Go Fine Nib, I'm just going to write the brand. And I am very caffeinated, so my hands are a little shaky. I have been working on my dissertation this morning and just sipping on coffee. And then the stub nib, I'll just do some letters. A little fluff there. There we go. All right, let me cap that up. And then next we will swatch Marley. So the base tone of these grays are a little different. This one is much cooler, but let's watch it as it dries. I think this chromo shading is so beautiful. Now I do currently have Diamine Marley inked up in an Opus 88. And it's really lovely to write with. The Opus 88 that I have has an extra fine nib, and even with an extra fine, it is exceptionally legible and flows really well. I think it has darkened. I've had it, this is the second month that I've had it inked up because an Opus 88 has such a large ink capacity. For me, it lasts for a really long time. So this is my second month having that ink and pen pairing, and I think that it's darkened a little bit. But I've had that happen for each of the inks that I've used in the Opus 88 pen. All right, so I'm not going to re-agitate in between. So we may see some variation between the amount of shimmer in each of the swatches. That is to be expected. So this one so far is lighter and much more purple. Interestingly, it kind of went dark to light. That's funny. And this is a sample that I received in the Ink Journal monthly ink flight subscription. I did that for a bit in, I think it was 2022. Oh, this is not Vinta. Apologies. I was looking for, but that ink is no longer in my collection. So Vinta, I think it's a Haribon, is very similar to Colorverse Iris Nebula. So this is Iris Nebula. And then we'll do some lettering. But this is also from the Ink Journal Ink Flight. There we go. All right, so I've got that capped. That's not going to spill. Now let's do a little talk about these three inks. So starting with Sailor 50 States, New Hampshire. it is darker. And all of these things are to my eye or in my opinion. So I'm not going to say that repeatedly. I'm just going to say it right off the bat. But to me, it looks a little bit more purple and almost a little bit more plummy purple. On the Rhodia paper, it is much darker than it is on the Tomoe River, and then the bank paper is even lighter. Now, out of these three papers, I think the most interesting is the bank paper. For me, I see a little bit of kind of a pinkish coming through, and then this really muted mauve purple, and then almost a little bit of brownish gray along the edging of the more saturated areas. The writing is legible for all three, and I'm not seeing a ton of shading or even chromo shading in the writing samples. So you can really use just about any pen with that and get a similar writing experience. Diamine Marley is, again, a little different on each of these papers. I'm going to jump ahead and say first off, I would also agree it's the most interesting on the bank paper. I really love that. It's almost got this bluish gray coming through, and then you've got the pink, and then you've got the purple, and there's a little bit of dark outlining in the more saturated areas. So that's really a complex ink. On the Rhodia paper, I am seeing some of that same blue coming through, as well as the little pops of pink. So it's pretty similar. It just, the way it's sitting on the paper, it's a little more, what's the word that I want to use? Smooth. Maybe that's the word that I'm thinking. And then on the Tomoe River, comparative to the other two, it's kind of boring, but it is still pretty. I am still seeing a little bit of the pink. I'm not seeing really any of the blue. I think if I say I'm seeing blue, I'm really reaching, because it wouldn't be a first glance sighting. And then in the writing, with the medium and stub nib, I am seeing a little bit of that pop of pink. So you can get a bit of the chromo shading with a wetter writer. And then lastly, Colorverse, not Vinta, Colorverse Iris Nebula. This is a shimmer ink. It's kind of a champagne colored shimmer, a really, really, really light gold, but not... Actually, this might be almost like a chameleon shimmer, because in some lighting I'm seeing silver and other I'm seeing champagne. Anywho, so it has the shimmer. The shimmer is a little bit on the Tomoe River, but again, I did not re-agitate. I did re-dip. I did not re-agitate. And it is darker on the Rhodia paper, which was similar to Sailor 50 States, New Hampshire, light on the Tomoe River, and almost medium on the bank paper. It's kind of a Goldilocks situation going on right here. And there could be a little bit of shading coming through. And actually, when I look at the writing, I see a little bit of shading, a little tiny bit. But again, all three nibs are legible. I could appreciate that some people may think the fine nib is on the lighter side and may not enjoy writing with that. But for me, all three of these would be legible, and I think I would enjoy that. So that is the 41st 3 inks. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and hopefully I see you in the next one. Bye.